Hello, and welcome to Tales from the Twist, the podcast where we like to talk about around the twist, an 80s, 90s, and early 2000s television show, aimed primarily at children. My name is Joe Lewis, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Anthony Bull.
Oh, hey Joe, how's it going?
I am very well, thank you, because today we're wrapping up Season 2
We
of
are
Around the Twist.
wrapping that up, and
We
I'm
have
very happy.
climbed the mountain of conflict that is Season 2,
Yes.
and we are preparing to calm it down, rein ourselves in, recompose ourselves, and get ready for the long haul that will be Season 3.
I'm a little bit concerned about Season 3.
Why?
Well, like when we came into Season 2 and we were not very excited at all. When we saw the new cast, we were like, no, they can't hold a candle to Season 1. Now, the Season 2 cast did grow on us, but they still were not as good as Season 1.
I think it would be hard for any cast to beat the Season 1 cast because they were so
That
perfect
was so
in
perfect. They
encapsulating their
knew
roles.
exactly what they should be doing
Exactly.
at the time. So I'm a little bit concerned, but hey, you know what? I'm optimistic. It's going to be alright, I reckon.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic is probably the best word for it, yes.
The thing about Season 3 is, and we'll probably talk about this more once we actually start Season 3, but Season 3 was, I believe, 2003, 2004, and is most people think about that cast when they think about Around the Twist, especially people that are a little bit younger than ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much. They don't think about the original Bronson, they think about that Bronson.
Because...
Or if they... I don't know, actually. I feel like... Is he got red hair in Season 3?
Yes.
Okay, then yes. Alright.
Yeah, because the Season 1 was filmed in 1989, the year that both you and I were born.
That is correct.
And
What month and date were you born?
I was born in one of the winter months.
That's good.
Anthony.
Wonderful.
Please do not give out my personal information.
What is your Medicare number?
Your driver's license number is...
Oh yeah, I'm giving you my driver's license number, as if.
As if.
You won't be the first person to ask for that, okay?
Personal details aside, we're here to talk about Season 2 of Around the Twist, and the best way to do that you and I both thought, was to go through and clean up the loose ends to start off with. Then we'll get on to some of the story arcs from the season, and then right at the end, so since we're such a big hit...
It was just
last season, we'll come up with our own episodes.
It'll be
for Season 2 of Around the Twist.
Bigger and better.
Bigger and better than the Season 1 version.
Well, actually,
which involved Bronson travelling back in time to kill Nell? Was it to kill Nell?
It was to kill Nell to absorb her magic power. So
her magical spiritual shaman powers.
I promise you that it's going to be better, because
it will be better.
Well, it will be
Hype
better.
101.
Hype 101. Hype 101 is oversell yourself, always. I don't know.
I'm always torn between, should you overhype people or should you lower the expectations? Because lowering the expectations is good, but it's good once you've got people's attention.
Yeah, I agree. But it's like, if you overhype people, they go, well, this is shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think overhyping is apparently better.
That's the Hollywood method. Yeah. Overhype.
Yeah.
Because once you get them into the cinema, it doesn't matter if they think it was rubbish.
Yeah. But then it's like, if it's underhyped, then it's like, oh, wow, this is the sleeper hit of 1999. I can't believe I didn't see this one.
What was the sleeper hit of 1999?
Fight Club?
Probably.
Yeah, probably Fight Club.
Let's dig into the Season 2. That's what we're here to do. We'll start off right at the beginning. The first episode was about chicken hypnosis.
Yes.
And what was it called?
Next time around?
Yeah, referring, of course, to two things. The first being that it was Season 2 with a new cast, so it was, another time around. And kind of, the episode is about reincarnation and hypnosis, so it was, a bit of a meta joke there. Talking about reincarnation. Most of the cast is reincarnated, as you will.
Yes, that is very meta and also very terrible. We didn't like that episode, did we?
No, well, that episode was probably one of my least favourite episodes, and ranking up there probably close to Bird's Day.
It was a very memorable episode, though, and it's, at least in the joke, from a schoolyard point of view.
Pete eating the snails?
Yeah, and going, now. That was one of the things I remember distinctly about Round and Twist. I don't remember other things in this season, like the quivering heap or little black balls or anything like that. I should have remembered the little black balls, but I remember that distinctly.
Because it was poo?
Well, yeah, because it was poo. Anything gross is something that was discussed in
toilet
primary
humour
school.
Is especially memorable.
Yeah, especially. It was that, flying Linda, and peeing.
Yeah, the peeing episode is the one that most people say is the most memorable from this season.
Yeah.
But from chicken hypnosis, we got a loose end here.
Yeah.
Where is this child?
Yes.
So, in Season 2, Episode 1, Next Time Around, Nell has a nephew. Yes. She has a nephew called...
Tom, I think?
No, because Tom was her brother.
Oh, Tom was her brother.
I think
it was.
we thought it was Tom, but it doesn't matter. The problem is she has this nephew. So the two questions that we have are, who's his father? Mm-hmm. Where did this child come from? Yeah. And the third question, where is he now?
Well, that's the weird thing, because it's like, okay, Nell, I'm going to say, go out on a limb and say was never married. So I'm just going to go out there because, like, I would wonder where her husband is now.
Well, we've never had any mention of any love interest for Nell.
And so she could be divorced, but then it's also a little weird that if she was divorced, she'd still be in touch with her her husband's side of the family, right? It'd still be a little weird. And it'd still be weird because the child would be like, what? He's 4 or 5?
Well, they say it's her nephew. They don't say this is her son.
Yeah,
and she's just looking after him.
Yeah, no, but like if it was his nephew, it could easily be your husband's sister's kid. So that would make him, husband's sister's son, which would make him your nephew. But if you were divorced and, you never really saw the kid, chances are you wouldn't go and hang out with the nephew.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make any sense. So it's got to be, in my opinion, Nell's brother. But then how many of his brothers are dead? How many of her brothers? Almost all of them are dead. I think all of them are, yeah.
One of the recurring things we keep coming back to with Nell is all of her family is dead.
Yeah.
And they turn into ghosts.
So
whether that be because she's representing them as such from inside of her coma, a la Life on Mars.
Yep.
Or there's something wrong with Nell, meaning that she might be some satanic agent of darkness, harvesting souls and keeping them around her for comfort.
This child? He appears for one episode and then doesn't...
We never see him again.
Never see him again.
We never have reference to his parents, never reference to anybody else.
But everyone accepts it like, everyone knows him.
Yes.
Like, no one says, oh, who's this young lad? It's my nephew.
Well, she said
John.
She said that she was minding him.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that she's probably had this child for about a week.
Yeah.
Maybe he's come from somewhere else.
Maybe. Well, I personally think now that discovering, what episode was it again? The, Granddad's Gifts.
Yes.
After discovering the horrifying truth of Granddad's Gifts, I believe that child is under a lemon tree.
So you think that Nell has since murdered this child, maybe actually murdered or caused his death in some kind of manner, buried his corpse underneath a lemon tree, and then harvested his lemons for spiritual or satanic purposes.
See, it was probably a test to see if a child would do any better. You see, because Nell wants to kill Bronson. This is just an established fact.
Yes.
This is the War of Titans here. But he can't take on the mountain. You have to climb couple of hills first before you climb the mountain. So you have to, obviously kill some children and bury them under a lemon tree. Does your lemon produce, psychic, cosmic, brainwashing, tree lemons? Then yes, you can go and get Bronson.
She's gathering her powers,
She is
gathering her
consoling those
forces
powers.
of evil.
Yes. Remember the rules, guys. If you ever have a lemon, ask if it comes from Nell's tree. And if it does, you run the other way as fast as you can.
Because you might find yourself getting blue eyes.
You will get blue eyes. Just like in Game of Thrones.
Who gets blue?
The White Walkers.
Oh, okay.
They have blue eyes.
Okay.
And spoilers here for the show.
Well, I don't watch the show.
I won't say anything.
Don't watch the show. Don't watch the show. Just read the book. Just read the books.
Just listen to the books on Audible.
Yeah, that's probably a good...
Audible, pay us money. Pay us money, Audible. Because I just said their name. I want the money from them. I'm not going to do this for free. But you just did it.
bit late for that. The second episode of season 2 was Copycat, which featured a Mongolian cat hat.
Yeah.
Which gave the wearer the ability to copy some physical action that the cat hat observed. So we started off at the beginning of the episode with somebody doing cartwheels, and then Bronson, who was wearing the hat, was able to copy that through the powers of the Mongolian cat hat.
Yeah.
We talked about muscle memory a little bit last episode. Does the cat hat give the body of the wearer the ability to remember, if you will, muscle attributes from other people or animals or beings?
I have to imagine so.
Is that what enables them to do it?
No, I don't think...
How does it work? What are the mechanics of the cat hat?
The cat hat just sort of like brainwashes you or whatever, or just like, I don't know, but it has to use some sort of spirit energy or something. I don't know.
So you think it's definitely paranormal, the cat hat, but you think that the power that enables the wearer to do these magical things is purely supernatural and not linked to physiological
I think it's purely
abilities.
supernatural, but I feel like it still has an effect on your body.
Yes.
So like, if you've ever been to the surf and you've been in the surf or just in the waves, and you've just been in there for like an hour or so and you let the waves hit you at night when you go to bed, everyone knows the feeling that you still kind of feel the waves in your body. It would be, or heck, you know, you're about to go to sleep and you sort of kick your leg because, you know, I don't know, you're having a weird dream. Maybe Linda, after a massive flight, maybe her arm sort of moves without it thinking, unconsciously, because she's just been used to flapping her arms for the last hour or so.
She didn't really flap, though.
She didn't really flap,
More of a glide.
Well, maybe the feeling of flying would still be within her when she goes to bed. So that's what I think about muscle memory regarding the Mongolian cat hat.
It's well known that humans often dream about flying, right?
Yes.
So this is assumably only worse that now that Linda has actually flown, right?
Do they really fly?
Dream about flying.
Like, do you mean...
It's a recurring dream in a lot of people.
Really? I've never had that dream. I always wanted that dream.
It's either flying, but there's also a falling one as well, which
apparently people get that. I've never had that.
You get that when you're dropping to the next level of sleep.
Really?
And so often it feels like you're falling because your consciousness is falling down, so it gives you the feeling of falling. I get it quite a lot when I'm drifting to sleep.
Do you sleep on your side?
Sometimes you wake up. I sleep on my side often.
Yeah.
But sometimes on my back.
Maybe it's that. I don't know, because I sleep on my back. But
yeah,
I've been told you shouldn't, because...
Why?
If
you can choke?
Well, no, because you can have... Like, you could potentially have sleep paralysis.
Ah.
And that would be very scary. Very, very scary, because aliens would be, like, at my bed, and they'd be, like, trying to abduct me and stuff, and I'd be frozen.
Probing.
Well, they wouldn't be probing me, but they'd be like... And they'd be trying to, like, abduct me, and that'd be fucking scary. Like...
Touching you tentacly.
Tentacly, man. Tentacly.
Maybe.
And then my wife is just in bed, she's not doing anything. That's when I'm like, woman, what are you doing?
Help me, I'm being touched inappropriately by aliens.
Aliens are abducting me.
The loose end from season 2, episode 2, Copycat, was, where is the hat now? At the end of the episode, they still have the Mongolian cat hat.
Yeah.
We get a brief mention of Mongolian cats later in season 2, but never again the hat.
Yeah.
Where is the hat now? Who has the hat? Wouldn't they keep it?
Yeah,
if they obviously knew that it was paranormal?
I think it's still in the shed, maybe.
Why aren't they using it?
Good question. Why aren't they using the Mongolian cat hat? Well,
I'm sure that there are several situations
I think maybe
because used it in.
The Mongolian cat hat has so many negative ramifications.
Yes, like what? Okay, what negative ramifications?
So Linda tried to look at a plane, and the plane didn't work, but then she saw a seagull, and she started flying. Flew. Right? But she didn't really have any choice. Like, she really wanted to go for the plane, but she saw the seagull instead, and the cat hat saw the seagull. So the cat hat has control over her. Also, you can end up, by the end of the episodes, James has a hat on, and he goes to eat the poo.
Yes.
Right? So, it's probably not advised. It's like, it's a great system, but it's like, if I put it on, I have no way of knowing if it's, if I either will do what I want to do, or if it'll, I don't know, lemming. Like, if I accidentally look at a lemming, and then the lemming walks off a cliff for whatever reason, because even though they don't, but let's say they do, I'm gonna walk off the cliff and die. Well, that's really unsafe, you know? And hell, you could totally torture somebody or something that way, and just, I don't know, you put the hat on them, and then you put, like, an image of the animal in front of them, like, the little thing that you want them to turn into, and then they do the horrible things. I don't know what horrible things it would be. A rat, maybe? And then you give them, like, really moldy food, and they eat the food, because
so
really
you
gross
think
and stuff.
That Tony Twist
is a psychopath.
has decided that the cat hat, its powers should only be used for good, and has locked it away in his art shed.
Yes. Also, and then he probably has thought, I'm going to put that on a sculpture one day. That looks great.
I feel that Gribble, who starts to cotton onto the rules of the Round Twist episode by the end of season 2, would have tried to steal it and used it for nefarious purposes.
Probably, I guess. Maybe. Or maybe CSIRO came in. Or ASIO, or whatever. Remember they came in for the next time around machine, right?
The
next time around
pink
machine.
bow tie.
Pink bow tie machine. Maybe at the same time, like, Gribble was like, you need to go to their house. They have this hat that can make you copy anything.
Yeah.
And then ASIO was just like, sorry, we gotta take this, because, I don't know, it's the secret division of ASIO that
it was CSIRO, wasn't it?
Yeah, CSIRO. Yeah. So they come in and say, sorry, we gotta take this and study it and apply it to, like, nuclear weapons or something.
Is somebody from the CSIRO or ASIO, are they working within Port Nirranda, getting artifacts of paranormal power in order to fund government experiments and use in government experiments?
I'm going to say a tentative yes there.
Who?
Who
is their inside agent?
Well, let's see. Who would be most motivated to do it?
We don't have any proof that there is someone there.
Yeah.
But there are things that go missing. Because the dragon never referred to again.
The dragon never comes back again,
Stuff like the Mongolian cat hat, never referred to again.
A snapper?
Oh,
he's so sneaky.
He's
so hidden, right? Like you wouldn't expect it to be Snapper. The obvious candidates are either...
Freedom and democracy, though.
Yeah. Yeah, well...
Would he be working for a government agency?
Yeah.
Well, he is.
Of course.
He's a school teacher.
Of course you would. Like, think about it. What's the ultimate way to trick someone? Is just be like, oh, I'm totally, like, for individual freedom and privacy and democracy, when in reality, you're a sleeper agent of the totalitarian regime. Like, duh. Oh, I trust Snapper with all my
double
stuff.
agent.
He's a double agent. Yeah. Like a Manchurian candidate.
That's interesting. We might come back to Snapper.
Yeah.
So episode 3 was Little Squirt.
Yes.
Which is the one where Bronson is possessed by the water spirit, which enables him to pee over the toilet wall.
Yes.
Now, my question to you is Bronson still possessed by the water spirit? And is it possible that he suffered any side effects from this possession? Does he have any urinary tract infections from the spirit's presence?
Good question, actually. I reckon he isn't still possessed because the spirit can come and go as she pleases. And so she probably did it as a reward, as like a, hey, thanks for helping me out. So I don't think that he would be, but I feel like the possession would have had some effect on him for sure, surely, right?
Yeah, I don't know. If not psychological, there was a water spirit inside of you.
There was a water spirit inside me. I tried to tell my psychologist that, and he gave me a whole bunch of drugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
He also produced a doll and said,
where did the water spirit? Where did the water spirit? Yeah. But maybe also, like, think about it. Imagine having something that could move in and out of your body. Like, let's say it could move to your blood.
Yes.
And it can move your blood in the opposite direction. I mean, that's got to cause some internal damage, sorry.
Maybe.
Yeah. And the rate that he was able to pee, and was able to pee really far,
yes.
I have to imagine there'd be a lot of pressure built up in his urethra.
Yeah.
So that it would just pour out, like, because that's how you do it, right? I imagine.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't come out like a leaky stream, it would just come out like a fire hose.
Yeah.
That's got to cause some damage down there, or
possibly.
in his bladder. So
possibly,
maybe he's going to need a transplant.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe later in life. We also discussed when we were talking about that episode, the water spirit can technically, right, would be able to control humans because of the water inside their body.
Maybe that's why he goes back in time. But maybe that's why his wife breaks up with him in the future. Right?
Why?
Because they get together, but then it turns out he's impotent.
Because the damage done by the water spirit.
And then it's like, oh, you know, this isn't going to work for me. I'm sorry. You can't take Viagra because it's an internal problem.
Yes.
And that won't fix it. And so he's like, I gotta go kill Nell. No, he gets trapped in a lightning storm, and he's like, this is my opportunity to kill Nell. Alright? All these cogs are coming together quite nicely. Yes.
Coming together. Anthony, of course, is referring to our Season 1 recap episode where we give Bronson a storyline in which he kills Nell.
Yes, he is the hero of our generation.
Episode 4 was Pink Bow Tie, which involved a machine that can turn you young again.
Yes.
Or old again, or it can change your age.
Yes.
Developed by the CSIRO in perhaps conjunction with ASIO.
Yeah.
Some sort of military weapon. Our question is, what happened to that machine?
Yes.
Because they had it in school. Assuming now that we know Snapper works for some government agency, perhaps he took it back and recovered the artifact. But there was a headmaster of that school that only appeared in that episode, right? And what was his name?
Splooge? Spliff?
Let's just call him Splooge, it's just easier.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Splooge, though. Like...
What? It was like Splodge. I think it was Splodge.
I don't know.
Whatever, Splooge. Yeah. Splooge was headmaster and then is turned into a baby. Yeah. What happened to him? Is he still a baby?
Okay, I don't know.
We never see him again.
I have to imagine that he would have been...
Did they get rid of him? Did Snapper take him back to his apparent governmental agency and they look after the Splooge baby?
Did they
turn him back to his
look
correct
after?
age?
Do they really look after? I'm doing air quotes here.
Look after
him. I think, like, if Snapper took him back to the government agency, they might conduct experiments on him with lemons.
Maybe,
right?
Well, I'm just thinking now.
Yeah.
A lot of the time when something paranormal happens in Around the Twist, many of the main characters never seem to reference things that have happened before.
Yeah.
Is somebody, i.e. Snapper, working as a Men in Black agent and will come along with, the stick that, the flashy light thing that makes them forget.
Maybe.
So that they don't remember things. Sometimes they remember and reference things. Like Pete seems to realize that ghosts are not that big of a deal.
What if the natural part of the lighthouse is that it actually makes people sort of forget about these things?
Or make them complacent about these things?
Complacent, like they exist, and then some of them are like, with the twists, it's like, they're not that bothered by it. So the lighthouse sort of just quells their fear. It just makes it normal, so they don't go around telling people.
Yeah.
And so like the destruction of the lighthouse, obviously, is a big deal again. Maybe that's why that Mr. What's his name again? Henderson tried to destroy the lighthouse in the first place. Maybe it's because he was working for another government.
Yeah,
agency.
Rival government.
Or same government, maybe it's a different agency. I don't know.
He's a Russian paranormal activity agent.
Or he's like from the Australian Skeptic Society, and was just like, I don't believe in ghosts, but then there's ghosts, and he's like, but it's like the evil version of the Australian Skeptic Society that just wants to destroy ghosts because they're aware ghosts
So they wouldn't
exist.
be skeptics.
No, but they put the facade up that they're skeptics. You see, they joined the Australian Skeptic Society, but they're the evil
pretending to be
skeptic
but they are actually believers.
Is it called?
They're more like
It wouldn't be
exorcists,
called the
right?
Australian Skeptic Society, would it?
I don't know. I believe there would be a skeptic society.
Oh, I don't think it would be called
ASS.
the Australian... ASS. I was just like, I feel like I have to look this up because I imagine it'd be called something else. They would have worked that out and gone, I'm not having that as a name.
Skeptics. Assume, maybe they might have some intelligence. Probably work out that ASS is a bad acronym to have.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Season 2, episode 5 was Nails.
Yes.
Which is the episode in which Linda falls in love with a merman.
A merman, yes.
Spoilers. Any loose ends from this episode? I didn't have any. Did you have anything?
No, really.
Nails?
It wraps up just fine. Like
it did wrap up quite well, didn't it?
Other than Nails is whatever the guy's name's father is.
It does hint that Linda is affected by this encounter, and it's something that she will remember, and it, will affect her, how do you say, romantic growth as an individual?
Yeah. In season 4, don't they go to Atlantis or something, right?
Yes.
And there's mermaids in that, probably.
Maybe.
So maybe there might be a subtle throwback to this episode? We'll have to wait and see.
Why not?
Yeah.
Episode 6 was Sloppy Jalopy, which was the episode with the dump. And the dump earrings. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about this episode? Because I didn't have anything for this one either.
Oh, actually...
Yes?
Sorry, back on Nails, I totally missed this, is that Pat Scribble heard about the mermaids.
Okay.
Right, and tried to pollute the beach to keep them away because he reckons that the mermaids are coming onto his beaches. And that as a member of the the Progressive Conservative Party...
Yes.
He reckons that dumping on the beaches will keep them away. And that means that it'll appeal to the more conservative, xenophobic people in his electorate.
Okay.
Who are like, I don't like these mermen coming and taking my jobs. So
stretching.
They're like, Gribble, because in the very next episode, he starts dumping the beach. Coincidence?
Was
I think not.
Smelly Feet dumping on the beach? I thought it was...
no, the next episode is Sloppy Jalopy.
Ah, okay. Because that's dumping on the beach.
Yes.
I thought that was them wondering where James was because he was covered in garbage.
He was. But remember, he was also he falls dumping. Because he falls in the trash pool and he goes and he has a shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Plausible.
Yeah.
Plausible. Skipping over Sloppy Jalopy, and let's talk about Smelly Feet, which is the episode in which Bronson has magical feet powers.
Yes.
That so strong that he can knock people out with the stench.
Uh-huh.
And my question to you here is the Smelly Feet Island the same as the Mermaid Island?
So Turtle Island.
So they refer to it as Turtle Island. I can't remember what they refer to it in as Mermaid Island, but is it the same island?
No.
Or is it a different island?
Surely it has to be a different island.
How many islands are there off the coast of Port Nirranda?
There's got to be 3 or 4, right? Surely.
Is there enough room? How long is Port Nirranda?
How big does an island have to be an island, though?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I think they could have as many islands as they want.
It just has to be an island, right?
Yeah, it just
any size can be an island.
Yeah, any size, technically. So
I guess.
So anything. Maybe a global.
How big is Turtle Island?
Tiny.
Because the Mermaid Islands seem to be of, small size, but it wasn't, as big as your house.
No, it wasn't.
You could roam around, probably a couple of acres.
Yeah, I'd say Turtle Island's maybe the same size, I guess.
I think that they're one and the same.
You reckon they're one and the same?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, well.
We did see more sand dunes on the second island, the one where Bronson roams about on.
Yeah. Did they really, though? You could not, because they came down from the lighthouse to the beach.
Oh, they say Turtle Island. It's on Turtle Island.
That doesn't make any sense, though, because the twists come down from the lighthouse to then find the...
Are you saying it's just a peninsula?
Or maybe, maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe, Turtle Island was where the turtle was, and then he came to Port Nirranda to dump its eggs. Because that makes more sense, because it's how did Bronson get over there?
We don't see the signature cliffs,
he'd have to hire a boat.
The signature round the twist cliffs.
Yeah.
They're not present. It's more of a duney...
Yeah.
hilly location rather than the cliffs of the lighthouse.
Well, maybe they took the boat over. There's a boat on the ground.
Yes.
Bronson would have had to get a boat and then go over there.
Yeah.
In order to reach the island. Maybe he got over to the island using that boat somehow with Linda and Pete, and then when Linda and Pete are knocked out, he can't pull the boat over the ditch. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yes, quite.
The next episode to talk about was Grandad's Gifts.
Yes.
In which a fox has been buried under a lemon tree.
Yes.
And, well, no, the fox is... What were the mechanics of this again? There's a dead fox in Linda's cupboard, and she feeds it lemons from underneath a lemon tree in order to reanimate it. But in the other lemon tree was somebody's grandfather, assumably Nell's. It was Nell's, right? And she fed those lemons to the fox, and it got the guy's blue eyes. Which weren't even real blue eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So his fox's pelt was in the cupboard, body was under the lemon.
Yes.
Okay. Nell's grandfather was under another lemon tree.
Yes.
I'm not 100% sure, but the mechanics of this is that they're haunted lemons caused by, obviously, the dead people.
Yes.
Have produced obedient, subservient slaves to Nell. And it also has caused, this is also the episode where Linda has a manic episode.
Yes.
Basically, it's like, the fox is dead! The fox is dead! It doesn't have any eyes, but it's alive! And it's under the tree! It's like, what? What? Sorry.
Why are you apologising?
Apologies.
Apologies to everyone for making you listen to that. The following episode after that is Ice Maiden, in which we see Bronson have some disturbing dreams about a young girl destroying phallic objects and objects representing freedom. Yep. Do these dreams continue after the episode's finished?
I was wondering that, yeah.
Is he continuing to have
Do the dreams change?
Is this a symptom of his perhaps spiritually involved descent into madness?
Potentially. It might be his influence on the lighthouse, or the
lighthouse's influence on him.
Something along those lines, like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, he's a young child with potential spiritual or demonic powers being fed off the residual energy of the lighthouse.
Nell clearly has singled him out as a special child. The mountain, as I've called him earlier. All right, he's the mountain to be climbed.
He's like Walt in Lost.
He is like Walt in Lost, exactly. So, maybe the Round the Twist Lighthouse gives him some energy, whereas, and Bronson also gives back that energy to the lighthouse, influencing the world around him. So, maybe when he's asleep and he has no control over it, maybe the Round the Twist Lighthouse feeds into him a lot more.
Yeah. He's in spiritual communication with the lighthouse.
So his subconscious would interpret it, whatever that is, whatever the lighthouse is feeding to him. Now that he's accepted this girl, and he's accepted, I guess, women in general, I guess he'll have different dreams where it'd be, instead of like being chained to a thing and they're destroying a boat, maybe he'll be sailing on a boat with a woman.
Maybe.
A ginger girl, I guess.
I was thinking more along the lines of, are the dreams going to be less a redhead girl that he's now in love with, his cousin, or more Faye destroying things? Because we were kind of saying when we talked about that episode that this was kind of his way of dealing with the fact that women in his life bring him immense sadness.
Well, Bronson, I reckon that these things were whole internalizations of Bronson's insecurity.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that's what I always thought. And I thought Bronson, I said that he gets back to the lighthouse. His insecurities about the relationship with Faye.
Yeah.
All right, influenced basically the spiritual energy of the lighthouse and caused them to break up.
Yeah. And the death of his mother, right?
Yeah. Well, I've got this whole thing here, like right here.
Okay.
Yep.
Anthony's showing me a page of what looks like Madman scribble.
Yeah, it's lines going everywhere. But, it's stuff like, woman's destroying the ship and woman's destroying a horse. We already talked about the emasculating thing of the horse. But a woman destroying the ship. Remember that the woman is dressed as the lighthouse? It's a woman in the lighthouse.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
The only woman in the lighthouse that isn't Linda, which obviously he doesn't really recognize anyway, as a woman. Right? Or as an other. He recognizes Faye clearly as that other woman. Right? Okay. So when Faye comes into the lighthouse stops working, as we said, right? The lighthouse fails its function and destroys the ship, right? The lighthouse is the symbol of his security and safety. And with Faye in the lighthouse, right, this security and safety is compromised.
Okay.
Right? Now, so that's why he feels uncertain about his family because of this.
Yeah.
Right? Now, once seeing the maiden, though, he falls in love, right? And he realizes that the maiden, the ideal version of what he loves or wants for more in life, can kind of be replicated in real life. So, basically, his ideal mother, what his ideal mother is, he can see that in real life because he's probably had high standards. His mother's left him, and what he's always wanted in a mother, he's never been able to obtain. This Faye girl, does she live up to my desire or my need? Well, he realizes that, compromise is essential, and that, he shouldn't fear this change. He shouldn't fear these women. They're not coming to destroy his family. They're coming to make the lighthouse better.
Okay.
It's after this point that he starts to accept this woman in his life, and you start to see the transition from this cold woman, she's a cold, cold woman, that Tony Twist says. You start seeing more them getting back together. And by the final scene, I remember this.
Yeah.
The finale is that...
And seeing the light.
Yep. Yeah. She's seeing the light, sorry. Yep. the idea is that it can exist in real life. The final episode has them coming together as a family, fixing the light in the lighthouse, making it a functioning lighthouse. That way, if the lighthouse is truly a security and stability in his life, fixing it and making it perfect. Like, they clean it and they make it beautiful. They don't just fix it, kind of. They make it even better than before.
Yeah.
Right? He now has a working family that he's always wanted. And this is told throughout this thing with Matron saying, this boy needs a mother.
Yep.
Matron's been hinting at this whole time, this boy needs a mother.
Yep.
And so that's what I've picked up from Ice Maiden. That's the story arc of
pretty good.
Ice Maiden. Yeah.
Well read.
Yeah.
Well read there. The episode that follows Ice Maiden was Yuckles.
Yes.
An episode where the twists have to search for magical mushrooms living in a forest in order to save the forest from deforestation, and Gribble building a forest casino.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about this, but we never quite resolved it. The Yuckles are still in that forest.
Yeah, they are.
They're still there by the end of the episode.
They didn't go away.
It's like the dragon.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah.
What's going on? Did Snapper harvest them and take them to his mysterious Agio lab?
I'd like to know how, you know? I'd like to know how he did that.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Snapper sort of supported the whatsamajiggy. He sort of supported the destruction of the forest.
Yeah.
So maybe the government actually wanted the forest kind of destroyed.
Yeah.
Or get rid of the Yuckles. Maybe because the Yuckles...
secretly harvest the Yuckles and take them away to the lab.
Well, yeah. I mean, could you imagine if a terrorist got his hand on a Yuckle? Right? Straps a bomb next to a Yuckle.
Yeah.
Right? Or a bomb in a suitcase next to a Yuckle and finds a way to transport them. Right? Then he has 2 suitcases. And then one guy's like, oh no, there's 2 bombs. Which one's the real bomb? Uh-oh, one of them's a Yuckle. And he tries to defuse the Yuckle and explodes in his face.
Would the Yuckle bomb actually explode as a real bomb? Or would it just Yuckle explode?
If you could find a way to contain them, right? And then you put some breakable glass jars of ball bearings, nails, and various other shrapnel. Okay. And maybe some poison, some sort of poisonous arsenic or something, coating them. You strap them around, so then when someone tries to grab the Yuckle, right? It will basically explode, causing the glass jars to shatter, causing all this shrapnel and poisonous stuff to go into people everywhere. It would be more of a fear kind of thing, because you wouldn't know what is and isn't a bomb, which is kind of like a reflection on modern society, if you will, where it's like anything could potentially being a bomb.
Anything can be a threat these days.
Anything can be a threat. Well, suitcase, if it's by itself and doesn't have anything, everyone just assumes it's a bomb, which, you know what, it's better just to assume that than be wrong. Okay?
In the 1900s...
Yep.
Threats were threats.
Yes.
Germans were the threats.
Yes.
They are going to take over the world, and you knew what a German was.
Yes.
Later, we got, the threat of the Russian spies.
Yep.
Red's
in the bed.
Dead than red.
Yep.
Red's in the bed. Talked about in the Hop on Pop episode.
Yep.
You know, those communists are coming. Anybody could be a communist.
Yeah.
But these days, it's even more so than people.
Yeah.
Like the Cylon fear in Battlestar Galactica. Now it's anything could be a threat.
Anything can be a threat.
That suitcase left at the train station isn't going to explode.
Like, you've got the communists like living under the bed. They have this. They believe in the cause of the USSR and all that stuff.
Yes.
So they've still sort of they could be understood at least with their rhetoric. Nowadays, you have kids going off to join ISIS.
Yeah.
Who aren't actually Islamic. Who actually grow up in a relatively good neighborhood and just want to do it. I think because they want to do something meaningful, I guess.
It's it's part of the masculine condition, right?
Yeah.
You need to have a cause, something to live for, otherwise, you feel like your life has no meaning. You need something to fight for, basically. It's that need for conflict.
Yeah.
Something to protect or something to fight against. And, in this PC, sterilized 21st century Australia, there's not a lot that you can do. You could take up something like boxing, or you could get involved in arguing with people on Twitter.
Pretty much is what you could do.
There's no greater conflict cause.
Yeah.
And I think that's the root of this thing. It's like suddenly, there's a real thing. You can go out there and, you can live out your dreams of being Call of Duty. You can go to another country and you can fight for something. It doesn't really matter.
It's more about having purpose.
Yeah.
It's like, and maybe it's because like the Western ideal of purpose, like there's a lot of things that people want to fight for in the Western world that perhaps you don't agree with. Well, I guess the Islamic world is the only thing that's doing it. Like if someone set up a Christian caliphate, you'd probably see the same thing occur.
Yeah,
and you probably even have atheists going there, and it's like, it wouldn't make any sense, but they're going there because it's something to fight for.
The Christian equivalent, I guess, is, they go and they become missionaries and go and, helping third world countries.
Yeah.
And
Actually, I think the thing in the modern world, it would be going and fighting Joseph Kony or something, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like that Machine Gun Preacher or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is an alright movie.
But there is the secular, I guess, equivalent or non-Islamic equivalent of fighting for ISIS, which is going to fight with the Kurds.
Yeah.
Going to live with the Kurds and fight with them, which a few people have done.
Yeah.
Like there's a few guys in America who are just like, oh, these Kurds are under attack. Grab my rifle from under the bed, go fly over to Kurdland and fight some people.
I can totally understand that, because it's like, if you died,
Yeah.
you die in glory, I guess.
Yeah.
But if you lived, that's something that in your life you could say, I did that.
Yeah.
What did I do in my life? What did you do in your life, Anthony? I worked for many years and then I died. I fought back an oppressive and backwards regime that would have killed all of us, slaved all our women. Your life is better than me. Thanks for inviting me to your party.
It comes back to the masculine construct of honor, right?
Yeah.
And, even maybe that Viking ideal of bloodlust. You see it in a lot of cultures, this masculine idea of, dying the glorious death in battle. It's something that you can't actually do anymore. And a lot of people feel that way. And maybe, this is just speculation. This is just rampant speculation. But maybe that's the cause of a lot of problems in youth in Western societies. Like, they don't feel like they have that outlet, so they resort to, to crime or dangerous sports or whatever else.
I said something like, we have no war, we have no Great Depression.
Bunking off
Our
school.
war is... what is
internal?
It? Internal. And our depression is our lives. That's from Fight Club.
Is it?
Yeah, it's from Fight Club.
Ah, okay.
Word for word. Although I don't like to quote Tyler Durden because people would assume, hey, you've got a fedora in your closet? And I'll go, well, no, I don't.
The whole idea of Fight Club was more about, it was kind of about that, the masculine
ideal,
frustration and
what is man's place?
Ideal.
What is
it was
man?
Also,
and I say man as in like males. Place in the current modern society where like the ideal male is being shipped away. Like, women are being emancipated, right?
Yeah.
And they have the ability to build up their identity now, which is fantastic, right? But then males also are now losing their identity and they need to find their new identity. They need to realize that they can also build their own identity, but they don't know what they're supposed to do.
Well, a lot of people you might be able to put up this idea that the ideal of female emancipation is in direct conflict with male emancipation, right?
Well, I agree it is. Like, just because it's in order for one to be emancipated, you have to free what is already being currently, I guess, oppressed or something like that. And they're not necessarily like in a, I'm going to enslave you sort of way, but it's like, you are a part of this role and I am fit in this way. Yeah. And if you don't fit into my life in this manner, then my life is changing as well.
Yeah.
They might be changing for the better, but you still need to find a way around that.
I don't think that the ideal expression of a man's masculinity requires, 1950s lifestyle, like the women cooking in the kitchen. No, nothing like that. It's more like men need an outlet of conflict. And I think that's why a lot of people take up these games like League of Legends and stuff. Because it's that conflict. Sport is another.
Sports, but also like you see a rise of things like man sheds. Those, like because the men can go to be men, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they want an outlet for that. And there's also like other like it's like MGTOWs or whatever. It's like men go their own way, so they try to forge their own destiny or some crap, like some MRA offshoot.
Oh, okay.
Right? I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
But like my point is that's propping up because there's obviously issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just interesting because Bronson is clearly struggling. With this.
Yes.
Maybe Tony as well a little bit.
Maybe he is. Like, I gotta imagine...
In a different way, perhaps.
I don't know. Well, because how stable are artists?
I don't know. Probably quite stable.
Well, I know
You mean their income or their
income
emotional
can be fluid,
well-being?
but also, like, a creative person, it can also be stable, but not as stable as a person who goes to a job every day, 9 to 10. They're more likely to be people who are like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try this. When Bronson needs stability, his father's not really there for him.
Yeah.
In the same way that Faye could be, but is he willing to trust this new woman?
In my study at uni, I did a lot of reading about creativity.
Yes.
And I read a bunch of studies and books about the link between creativity and mental illness. And it's actually fairly interesting because it's quite closely linked.
Yeah.
And that's completely tangential on a tangent, but just something interesting to think about.
Yeah, mental illness and creativity are linked.
Is creativity a mental illness? Maybe.
Or maybe it's just...
It's interesting that they are linked, though. But there is quite strong links, especially with, everybody knows this, but comedians are often quite depressed.
Yeah.
What's the other thing? There's...
Geniuses
often have issues.
Can have mental health issues.
David...
Like, what's his name? John Nash.
Oh, yes. That's not less creativity, more...
He still had... Creativity and intelligence are still really linked. I mean, like, he had the foresight and the ability to interpret the information in a new way, which is still creativity.
And David Foster Wallace, I'm reading Infinite Jest at the moment, just some name dropping, make me sound pretentious.
Philip K. Dick
ended up killing himself. Did Philip K. Dick kill himself?
No, Philip K. Dick had schizophrenia.
Ah, that's right. And he wrote about stuff like that a lot.
And that influenced his writing.
But that was also because... I think it's quite obvious when you read some of his stuff. There was some drug stuff going on.
Oh, he was doing drugs. He was doing LSD, I think.
Yeah. Especially, what's the one that has the film that was rotoscoped?
Scanner Darkly.
Yeah, Scanner Darkly. Yeah, that's all about drug taking in the 70s.
Yeah, it is, totally. And the whole movie's about them taking drugs.
Schizophrenia, paranoia.
Yeah.
Drug-induced hallucinations.
Yeah.
Let's get back to talking about Around the Twist. Quivering Heap is the next episode we've got to talk about. The punk in this episode is stuck in the dunny and can't get out until he passes the ghost test. Yep. When he does, he's going to receive a promotion, and it's to a lighthouse.
Yeah.
Is he or is he not now inhabiting the Around the Twist lighthouse?
I don't know.
We never see him.
So
assumably not. But he could still be there because we never saw Jeremiah and Matthew until now.
He could be there next season, but he could also just be at another lighthouse. And lighthouses are fantastic conduits.
I think that's probably the case. It's probably in a different lighthouse, but it might be worth thinking about.
But the thing is that Matthew and what's his name were actually at that lighthouse. Jeremiah and
but
Matthew.
We never saw them.
Yeah, so they were all in that lighthouse. So the weird thing is the ghosts don't come from anywhere else. They all have existence within said lighthouse.
Yeah.
So maybe this theory doesn't really work.
Well, this is what I was going to bring up here. Quivering Heap is the only episode in Around the Twist so far that doesn't fit with the canon of what we've come to know as the ghost rules, like how ghosts interact with the world. This is the only one where it's hinted at that ghosts actually need to scare people.
Yeah.
In all the other episodes, ghosts are only there to fulfill something that that's not quite settled within themselves.
Yeah.
Something that has not satisfied them. They need to achieve something before they can move on.
There,
Things that are left unresolved. But in this episode, the ghost is being punished for graffiti and has to scare people now. Yeah. It just doesn't
make any sense,
fit
does it?
the rule. It doesn't work.
It doesn't fit around the Twist world.
No. It's a strange scenario.
It is.
And the Paul Jennings stories that a lot of these episodes are based on.
Yeah.
You could say, I don't know, you could probably make an argument either way, whether they're all set in the same universe or not. I'd say probably not.
Yeah.
Because they all have different rules and different things going on. I know there's one story about when you die, you go to, it's Ghost World, and everything there is dead. Like, the mowers are really old because those mowers have died.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one guy has a twin brother, and he has these special glasses or something and can see his twin brother.
It's not like the, it's not exactly like it, but that's like the movie Ghost World.
Ghost World? Yeah. I don't even remember. Isn't that a Ricky Gervais film?
No, that's something else.
Ghost Town.
Ghost Town. Ghost World's like with I can't remember her name. Two chicks. One of the chicks is dead. Can't remember. But it was like a cult hit in the mid-90s.
I think I've seen it. I can't remember anything about it.
It's like Casper, I guess. It's nothing like Casper, but it's like Casper, and there's ghosts in it.
Why would Quivering Heap not fill these ghost rules? Is there a reason for that? Is there a reason it might be non-canonical?
I don't know. I can't. Do you know any reason?
I don't know. I'm just asking you.
No clue, man. I can't say because the guy who graffiti did anything wrong. Like, he did something wrong and needs to be punished or whatever. Because Ghost, what's his name? Clearly did much worse.
Yeah.
Ghost Jeremiah did much worse than
graffiti.
The punk guy. So I'm not really sure.
Unless
the god in this universe thinks that graffiti is by far the worst of all sins.
Maybe.
That's always a possibility,
Little Black Balls is the next episode that we need to talk about. And I didn't have any unresolved questions here. It was just a goat that ate an opal and then later pooted out.
Yeah.
But I did think it was interesting to note that there was nothing paranormal in this episode, nor was there in Iceman. Apart from maybe Bronson's dreams, which you could argue are spiritually linked. But there's nothing in Little Black Balls that is even slightly
It's actually it's totally that could happen.
It actually could happen. Yeah. It could be the plot of any other children's TV show.
It could easily happen. Like, let's say I had a rare ring and it got swallowed by a sheep.
Yep.
Right? Actually, no. This happens in Gone in 60 Seconds. Right? The dog eats the keys to the new Mercedes.
Okay.
Right? And then it's like, they get laxatives. They have to walk the dog until it poos out the keys.
Okay.
The guys try to hold them up, and then the guy like starts feeling through the poo, and it's like, oh man, that's gross. Who gets that jolly playing with dog shit, man? And then they run away. And get the keys. So, long story short, Gone in 60 Seconds ripped off around the twist.
Sing the Light was the final episode of season 2, and it's wrapping up everything that happened, kind of.
Very quickly.
It wraps up the story arcs. But the one thing of note that's worth talking about here is that it was the first episode that's not from Paul Jennings' book. Like, we've seen episodes like Bird's Doe and Quivering Heap, which take multiple stories and mash the storylines together in order to create something new. But Sing the Light is the first episode that is not directly taken from a short story.
Yep.
Which is interesting because seasons 3 and 4... all of the episodes are just original. None of them are adapted from short stories.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, it's a good story, I guess. Like, I like the ending. I would have liked it. It was broken out over like 2 episodes, maybe. Like, like at least the story ending was.
Yeah.
Like, we got introduced to the ghosts a little more, and we saw, and maybe they could have been through the election that was taking place. Like, we could have learned more about Ghost Matthew and Ghost Jeremiah as the elections were taking place. And then in this final episode arc, we learn that Nell wins that election. Because because they built up this election this entire season, and to just to pass it off as a simple, whoa, there's going to be a recount. It's like, why did you even why is the election even in here to begin with at all?
Well, this is what I wanted to talk about next. Is the key story arcs of season 2.
Yeah.
So I'll just go through them quickly and then maybe have a short discussion. But the main story arcs were Tony and Faye's breakup and get back together.
Yeah.
Which took about the whole season.
Yeah.
You know, towards the beginning of the episode, they're talking about going to Bali. Faye's upset at Bronson because Bronson doesn't want them to get married. Bronson's smelly feet was built up in the first half of the season.
It is.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, it is.
And then is disappeared after he uses his feet powers.
There's a reference of Up the Pong.
Yeah, there's an Up the Pong reference in there. The Ghosts, which is poorly built up, but we do see Jeremiah and Matthew in every episode in the lead up to Sing the Light. And Election Dome.
Yeah. Which
you just mentioned.
Delivered.
The election race between Gribble and Nell for Senate in Port Nirranda.
Yeah, those are the 4 arcs, and to be honest, is it 4? Would you say 4?
Yes, I have 4.
How about that? To be honest, they could have cut one of them. They should have cut one of them.
Well, I think they were fine, but, you know...
they didn't get built.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't do anything. Tony and Faye is an interesting structure, but
it's already been done.
Yeah.
That's the annoying thing. It's like, Tony and Faye's relationship is essentially, we're at the same point we were at the end of season 1. That's what annoys me, is it's like, their relationship doesn't really progress. It would have been better, let's say they had Tony and Faye's wedding was being planned. That would have been better. Like, they were actually actively planning the wedding. Then the wedding was kind of called off.
Yes.
And then at the end, it was like, we're going to get married, yay, you know, and there'll be like, maybe even just like you don't even need to see the wedding. Or you could have the wedding if you want as an episode, like and the ghosts help out with the wedding for some reason.
Yeah.
But that was kind of a dumb thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Oh, I was just going to say, one of the things that I learnt in uni about televised drama or movies or anything like that is that drama is conflict.
Yeah.
And when there is no conflict, there is no drama.
Yeah.
So the problem in a lot of these long-running TV shows is that, you know, you have the sexual tension between the two main characters, be it in Scrubs with JD and what's-her-face, Elliot, Mulder and Scully in X-Files, whatever else you might have. As soon as those two characters get together, there's no more tension.
Yeah.
Because they're together. So you lose that underlying tension that is part of the show. So maybe the Tony Faye thing, that gives Tony, what else does Tony have? He just has his art.
Yeah.
He had that thing with Faye, and then he doesn't really have much else.
Yeah.
Same thing with Pete. If you take away the fact that he's together now with Fiona, what else has he got going for him?
Got nothing else,
he plays guitar, he makes snarky comments, not as much in season 2.
Yeah.
What else does he have for his character?
He has got nothing else. You're right. Well, like, then they should have done something else then with the relationship. Like, it should have just been, not just them, we're breaking up now because of Bronson, because, come on, this is exactly, we've been over this, like, way too many times already.
Yeah.
Alright? Maybe some other reason to break up. Or maybe even just some other reason for Faye to go away for a little bit. Faye to get lured away by some better
Snapper.
person. Or maybe through fault of Tony as well. Because it's always been Faye seems to be the problem. With Tony's issue being just his negligence of the scene. He doesn't handle it that well. He's just sort of like, oh, no worries. He doesn't deal with Bronson. Yeah. Which could have been more like, with Tony doing some unethical things. Like, why are you helping Gribble? I need to do things for my family. I need to pay for them. But he totally is against your political ideologies. Why would you support him with these ice sculptures? And I know that you might redeem yourself in the end, but it's still questionable. Yeah. There's some elements there to add a little bit of tension. I side with Nell on this one. I know you need the money, but, and you got paid, but come on. You know what he's using these for. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
That is truth, Joseph.
Lemon, interesting. Anything else you want to talk about from season 2?
No.
Specifically?
Nothing from season 2.
We've pretty much covered everything.
We've covered it. It is completely covered.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's move on to the exciting part of the episode.
Yes.
In which we talk about our own ideas for a season 2 episode of Around the Twist.
All right.
An 80s, 90s, and early 2000s television show, and primarily children from Australia.
Yes.
Let's talk all about that.
Let's talk all about it.
Who do you want to go first, or shall I?
Oh, you go first. No, I'll go first.
You want to go first?
My one's not that great.
Well, I think yours... Well, what's yours? Tell us yours.
The one I came up with...
We might be able to merge them together.
One I've only come up with thus far. It's like I couldn't think that much, but it was just the election. Finishing off the election. The election was such a big deal in this whole season. Now, I want to follow on from Nell's secret plan to obviously allow agricultural bills to be passed. Maybe even some ways to prevent CO2 and leveraging off the hole in the ozone layer, saying that, hey, we should build these citrus trees because, I don't know, vitamin C, right? So she's like, oh, you got to build these lemon trees all over Australia, and that'll help absorb CO2 or something along those lines. That's what she wants to do, but she really wants to make this massive network of evil lemon trees so that she can try to gain as much spiritual energy as she can. Gribble being the smart young guy he is, who's also has invested interest in, destroying the trees. Yeah. This happens to be that morally good and financially good line up together for him. So he's like, wow, this is fantastic.
Okay.
Right? But of course we know that Nell is supposed to be the good guy in the story. So Nell uses her psychic powers, right? Enlists them to get the help of Ghost Matthew and Ghost Jeremiah, who haven't done anything, all right? Yeah. To go and bring Gribble up to the top after he wins the election with a landslide, okay? It's been a tough battle, but he's used his power. Now, Ghost Matthew and Ghost Jeremiah are up there, somehow. I don't know, he inhabits someone's body. Yeah. Right? Linda and Pete. That'll do, right? Okay. Because you can't do Bronson, remember. Bronson's too strong and powerful. Bronson sees these things, he's much smarter than you get him credit for.
The chosen one.
But you know what? He drank some of the chocolate with lemon. So, maybe that's what caused him to suffer some ill effects, Okay. Just bear with me on this one. Yeah. Doesn't Iceman come on after that one? Anyway?
I believe so, yes.
Well, there you go. That's probably also why he has the weird dreams.
Oh, because he drank the lemon.
Yep. And that's caused him to have the messed up dreams. Anyway, Linda brought him up there. They're going to pop some champagne and celebrate his victory. A little...
Pop some bottles.
Now, we know what Jeremiah has done in the past. We know what Matthew has done in the past, right? Yeah. Okay. Jeremiah then pushes Linda... pushes Pete off the thing, because Linda... Yep.
No way.
Because it's Matthew, right? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And then he pushes... What's his name? Gribble off there. And then...
Why?
Gets back, and then Linda doesn't know what's going on. What's happened? Oh no! They must have had a scuffle, and they fought each other, and they fell off. But who would win by default? Oh, the person who came second in the election. I think it was Nell.
Wow.
There you go. Wow. That's my story.
Well, I'm blown away by your 3 minutes of gibbering. Very impressive. Yep. Very impressive. So... Just give us the...
I just made that story then. So.
Just give us the brief outline. There's an election. Nell loses. She consolidates. She thinks of a plan to defeat Gribble. Which involves pushing people off a lighthouse.
Yes, using the ghosts and harboring the Twist children. Okay, pushes them over. The lighthouse.
Okay, mine was also a season 2 finale.
Yes,
kind of replacement. Mine's a little less violent than yours.
Well, I'd like to say yours is kind of dark, Anthony. Well, when you watch the season 2 Round the Twist episode, it's not that dark because
Jeremiah killed about 10 people.
Yeah, killed about 10 people, and it was through indirect suicide, which is probably
he basically caused the suicide of his brother and then killed himself.
Far worse than you having a scuffle and pushing somebody over. At least from a theme point of view, it's like you've seen murder before, but suicide is like, okay, that's a little messed up.
Yeah, suicide in a children's TV show in the 90s.
Really far.
Pretty intense.
Head on, yeah.
It's not as intense as season 1, where we had child murder.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not... See, it sounds like it's terrible.
And implied,
then,
implied spookiness from the Scarecrow.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
That was scary,
A lot of people had nightmares over that Scarecrow.
Did you have nightmares over that Scarecrow?
I did not have nightmares over that Scarecrow. A lot of people did, though.
Yeah, one called Linda. She specifically had nightmares.
You would be emotionally scarred after that. that Scarecrow,
how could you not be?
So,
Scary.
my episode of the season 2 finale, you could kind of merge plots with Anthony's, maybe, but mine focuses on the light and dark aspect of season 2. So we have these parallels, right? There's Matthew and Jeremiah. Matthew, he's a good guy. All he wants to do is marry Jane. Jeremiah, he's a bad guy. All he wants to do is marry Jane and kill his brother and 10 people.
Yeah.
Because he wants Jane. He's dead set on being a bad guy. Then you have Gribble and Nell. Who's the bad guy here? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe the one that wants to kill everyone and harvest their souls as lemons.
Maybe.
Nell. There's this undercurrent. We've talked about it a little bit. But Nell being, spooky, satanic, not being such a good person. And then on a lower level, we have Bronson.
Yeah.
Is he incompetent? Or is it much worse?
Oh, what is it?
We've talked about Bronson being a creature of darkness before.
He is.
He's come back in time.
Yes.
Already.
But remember...
And to kill Nell.
But remember what happened.
Didn't they kill him and bury him under the Cabbage Patch?
Buried him under the Cabbage Patch, which also highlighted to Bronson, who's very switched on, that burying people under things implants spiritual energy.
Yes.
Especially if you're spiritually linked to the food.
Yes.
And that,
spiritual cabbages.
Catches on to that Nell
What did they
woman.
replace the cabbages with? They replaced them with something at the end of
They did lettuces? No, something else.
I don't remember.
I don't remember what they replaced it with.
Lemons.
Might have been... No, it wasn't lemons. Carrots.
Carrots.
Probably
carrots. Spiritual carrots.
Well, carrots are the only things that cannot be possessed by a spirit.
Why is that?
It's just Bronson knows.
Bronson knows. Okay.
He just knows.
He knows. The point is that Bronson is this spiritual wild child.
Yes.
This chosen one. In Carnival.
Yes.
What
is Carnival?
The 2000s HBO series about a roaming carnival that goes around the United States. And it's about this idea of being of light and a being of darkness in every generation. And there's usually this big conflict that is repeated throughout the generations.
Yeah.
Okay? My idea is that Jeremiah was this... What are you doing?
Sorry.
I'm trying to tell this story, and you whip out your phone, and you start Facebooking. I listen to your story. I listen. With people getting thrown off lighthouses.
I actually want to change that and say that this soul Ghost Matthew actually inhabits What's-a-Majiggy? Gribble's and Crabble's Gribble, and then Ghost Jeremiah convinces them because, the ship's going to crash. You can be with your love again if you fall to your death one more time. Using his awful, evil powers that Jeremiah does. So then he just jumps off.
Okay.
It makes it a lot easier.
Okay. Excellent.
Less murdering of the twist children.
Excellent. Thank you. So there's a being of light and a being of darkness. Jeremiah is the being of darkness from his generation.
Yes.
Now, he's been summoned through the lightning into the current day. And now we have Gribble, who is going to be the being of darkness of this current generation. He's going to succeed young Gribble. He's going to succeed Nell. Okay? Mm-hmm. But Bronson, this younger child, all full of dark energy, influenced by the Lighthouse, influenced by this incoming Fae. He's having these dreams. He's had a kiss with a ghost. He's rising up. Will he become the being of light or the being of darkness? I think you all know.
I think we all know where he's going to
He becomes the child of darkness.
Of course he does.
Now, he uprises.
Yeah.
And he is going to take the place of Nell. But how does he do it?
How does he do it?
I don't know.
You haven't worked that one out.
That's as far as I got.
Well, that's a good point. I don't know.
How does he do it? This is the next step on the Bronson's journey of destruction.
Well, clearly the Opal...
Does the Opal have spiritual powers?
Perhaps the Opal does. Maybe perhaps the removal of these things. I don't know. It's tough to say. How would you dethrone Nell?
Well, I don't know. Nell's been building her...
And of course we assume that Nell knows this as well.
Yes.
Keep your enemies close. Your friends closer and your enemies closer.
Okay. Is this why she gets him to do things like go and look for the dragon?
And all that stuff. I'll come into my house and help me, I don't know, with these heavy books or heavy distractions, whatever it is. Okay, comes in, okay, and then it's like, your soul is mine, or something like that. But maybe Bronson wants to be there because he is going to harvest her soul. So it's like a Game of Thrones style thing.
Yeah,
everyone's playing for the throne, otherwise known as the
It's more
Lighthouse.
It's more of a subplot than an actual episode, I have to
It's
say.
really... You need to finish
It's
off
not
your
very
episode.
flushed out.
Oh, you need to finish it, man.
I don't know where to go from here.
Maybe Nell tries to kill Bronson, and Bronson deflects her spiritual powers in a
Yes.
Spellbinder-esque style thing. And then he rises up and flies like a Dragon Ball Z character, and he like casts down these spirits, and like they're dressed in like full armor and stuff, and they come down to try to chop up Nell, but then Nell rises dirt up, and this dragon pours forth. What
Very
dragon?
high budget.
What dragon? That dragon from season 1, episode 2. That's just been hidden. She rides the dragon. They fight.
Is Nell going to ride the dragon, or is Bronson going to ride the dragon? Bronson's clearly friends with the dragon.
That's true. We'll have to swap that around then.
What's Nell riding then?
Nell has an army of darkness.
She's just flying, supported by her spiritual allies.
Yes, exactly. And then, I think Bronson should win in the end because...
He's riding a dragon?
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea.
If you're an artist, and you like to listen to Tales from the Twist, and you like to watch Round the Twist, maybe you can draw us a picture of Bronson riding a dragon in a spiritual battle with Nell, heralded by her ghostly slaves.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I'd actually even pay to see that.
Yeah.
I'd
Would
frame
you?
that. I'd frame that and put it in my house, and my wife would be like, "What is that?" And I'd say, "Well, let me explain it to you. It's this." And she'd go, "Well, I don't want you hanging that.
I don't want that in the house.
Well, it's such a good thing, though.
Amazing.
Could be
amazing.
wonderful. Yes.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, not at this current stage.
Kind of running out of bollocks.
Well, we kind of are. Like we've left our bollocks and we've dumped it in the last episode. Which is
the
always
last hurrah.
the last hurrah before season 3.
Goodbye, season 2.
Goodbye, season 2. Yes.
We loved you so well.
Well, we were okay.
We
you
were
grew
okay
on
with
us.
you.
You grew on us like an infectious fungal.
Like a rampant cancer.
Not really like a rampant cancer. It's more like just a fungus.
A fungus.
Like cancer's bad. Like you'll die and stuff. Like the fungus, like you could probably leave a fungus
You could probably
untreated.
die?
But you could also just leave it. Like, like if you're a tree and it's got one of those creeper vines and it just sort of creeps up. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it kills you in the end, but not as bad as cancer. So it's kind of
Not
like
as
a creeper
bad.
vine.
If you would like to know more about our podcast, or know more about Round the Twist
Yes.
in general, you're probably best going elsewhere. But if you'd like to know more about our podcast, you can follow us on any of our social medias. And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a couple of interesting things before we get on to season 3.
Of course.
So get your friends involved.
Yeah, get them involved.
Say, look at this podcast I found.
It's so
And
cool.
share them to our Facebook, which is...
Tales from the Twists. Just find us on Facebook. So it's like
Where else could people find out
people
more
can find
about
us. They can subscribe to us on iTunes.
Yes.
All the sexy people have done that already. But you can also be sexy and do that as well. And if
Yes.
you don't want to be sexy, just do it anyway. Whatever. You can just deny your sexiness. Even though it's true. You can also find us on Twitter, on TFT Twists, and on YouTube, on Tales from the Twists. And of course, you can find our website, which is just talesfromthetwist.wordpress.com. And if you want to send us a message, do so on Facebook.
That's probably the best way.
Probably the best way, actually, on Facebook. Or you can join our Chicken Twisties group. We have great discussions. If you're a hyper fan, you're like, oh man, I love me some Chicken Twisties, because, you're different from the normal Twisties.
So Twisties, of course, are people that listen to our podcast. In case it was not clear.
I thought that was rabid fans of the product known as Twisties.
Yes. No,
of course not.
Of our podcast, not the brand of corn. What is
Whatever
it?
it is.
I don't know. Whatever that thing is. It's
good
delicious, but you know that it's disgusting. It's
Yeah.
just corn. It's just corn, though.
Is
It's
it
just
corn?
Yeah, it's corn.
All right, good. Then I know that I'll
But
eat some.
it's not good for you.
Might eat some later.
It's processed corn.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you would like to contribute to our episodes, which some of our listeners have done in the past,
That's pretty great. I would love hearing it.
Pontillo, Regan Pontillo,
Yeah.
good friend, being the leader in that
is
regard.
that
But if
Hayden
you would
Redding,
like
I
to,
think, was
Hayden
another one?
Redding also
Pretty
has
cool.
posted some contributions. But if you would like to join them
Yes.
and have your content read out on the podcast, it's easy. Just join Chicken Twisties and keep up to
It's easy
date
to
with
just find
when we're
us
going to be
on
recording the
our
episodes.
Facebook, and you'd be like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe I didn't come here
So
earlier.
start submitting your stuff for the first episode of season 2, which
Exactly.
is when Pete kisses a dry
Actually,
egg and
episode of
becomes
season
pregnant.
1.
Season 3.
Season 3. So,
Episode 1, season 3.
episode 1,
Yes.
season 3. Yes.
Yes.
So watch that. Just contribute your contributions, ahead
And
of time.
maybe,
Yeah.
because we're thinking about doing some other stuff, if you'd like us to podcast about something else,
Let us know.
Leave your suggestions.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
We might end up doing that.
Yeah,
We did
exactly.
podcast about Hop on Pop, and we're podcasting about something that you might find interesting next week.
Maybe. Or maybe you won't. Whatever.
You probably will.
I hope you
Because
do.
everyone loves that product.
Everyone loves that article of entertainment, variety. You know?
You love it.
You'll be like, oh yeah, this show.
Anyway, that's all the time we have for this week. Thanks very much for listening to our Season 2
it's been
coverage.
Great.
We'll be back we'll be back next week with some other stuff. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with Season 3.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for listening. My name's Joe Lewis.
And I'm Anthony Bull.
Thank you very much for listening, and stay twisty.